So this is a Tier 8 battle in the LHMTV. It's a British Tier 8 light tank, and I wanted to feature a tank like this because it's a very vulnerable vehicle. It has no armor and no speed. And so a trick to playing a tank like this is to not overcommit to any particular place on the map where you can't escape, because you'll get targeted and get sent back to the garage. There's a lot of things that can happen on this map, so I wanted to do a little bit of a map briefing, and then I'll talk about where I want to go and why. So when we look at this map overall, there is these hills with this feature of a little bit of protection from artillery on each side. There's this middle area. It's kind of a no man's land. There's the forest, and then there's this kind of skirmish area for light tanks. And there's tank destroyers that like to sit back here in the bushes and also back here. And tank destroyers like to sit back here. And well, let's do a map briefing on strat sketch. Hold on. So this is where this is a marked up version of this map. But so heavy tanks like to come over here and hide from artillery, which spawns back here and back here. And tank destroyers will then come over here and try to shoot at the heavy tanks from this direction if they come around the hill. Every once in a while, heavy tanks will zoom into this area, and then someone could push into here, up here, and try to shoot at them, like from the cover of these houses. That's like kind of like this corridor on the map. And that's what this looks like when it's marked up. You have your artillery here trying to shoot at the heavy tanks or into the forest. You have tank destroyers which sit here and here trying to shoot at each other, shoot at the heavy tanks, shoot at whoever's sitting up here. And these orange circles I consider to be like special areas, this one as well. And what's special about them is if you're sitting here, you can get shots on those tank destroyers, and you can get shots on the mirror position on this side, and you can get shots into the forest. But if you get lit, you just roll down the hill. Same here. If you get lit, you just roll down the hill, and you're safe from artillery. Sometimes, this is also a fallback position as well. So if you lose the whole side of the map on this side, everybody kind of retreats, because the meta is if the forest is lost, the enemies will advance along the perimeter of the map, and everyone kind of clusters around this fallback position to try to defend against people coming up towards the base. So these are the medium tanks trying to battle it out in the forest. The tank destroyers would go here and try to shoot at anybody who's coming over these hills. And these tank destroyers don't get such good shots on that, but as soon as anybody starts to come through, they'll get shot up by tank destroyers. And then there's this light tank skirmish area here, and another special position where if you win the forest from this side and you can get into this position, you can light the whole side of the map as your enemies are advancing. So then you have lights and shots as they're lighting up enemies over here. So it's a very powerful position here. What else did I want to talk about? I know there's something. This depressed area here is the channel, where if you want to advance into the other side of the map, instead of just driving straight up through into tank destroyers, you can kind of come down here and try to outflank them around these corners. But a unique feature of this map is this E line. So a lot of times, whoever wins, say there's 4 or 5 tanks on each side. So you have 10 whole tanks over here, or 8 of them. And in this battle, you're going to lose 2 or 3 of them. So whoever's left is going to come out weakened into this. They're going to try to advance this way. And there's a little channel here with bushes where they can try to get lights, or they can advance this way. But there's a lot of bush cover here, and tank destroyers can be formidable to try to just drive straight into. And entire flanks can get lost by trying to push straight into tank destroyers. So what's unusual about this map is sometimes whoever's left, the entire flank will just decide not going there, and they just disappear. And I can't think of any other map where that happens. So you're in a tank destroyer and you're waiting, and they never show. Later they might come up through the E line and show up around here somewhere. But when I think about other maps, like say Murovanka, for example, you have light tanks trying to battle for vision dominance here, and maybe you have some armor moving up this direction, and you have tank destroyers in the back. And as your armor pushes up, no one really ever says, you know what, I think we'll all just leave and go up through the middle. It never happens. What typically happens is you'll take a medium tank and they'll just run up here real quick and start zooming around and light these guys, and then everyone will shoot them. And then they'll advance. Same thing with like live oaks. So you have medium tanks coming up here and fighting it out, and they'll kind of like be fighting it out up here, trying to shoot at these guys on this side, and maybe they'll flank them, maybe they'll come up, they'll start shooting at them from two sides, and these guys will run away. And then there's tank destroyers up here, and there's this little depressed area down here, and as you're coming up, there's always the risk that you're going to get shot at by a bunch of tank destroyers who are hiding back here, and you never see an entire flank say, you know what, forget it, let's just go, and maybe we'll go right through the middle of the map. That never happens. So what usually happens is someone will take a medium tank, they'll come down under here, and they'll start poking and lighting these tank destroyers, and then everyone shoots at them, and they advance. Maybe Ensk, where if you're trying to come through the field and people are getting obliterated by tank destroyers as they're trying to advance, maybe Ensk, they'll retreat and come up through the middle. But that's the only other map I can think of that happens. I could go through like Glacier, for example. You're in the, here's the heavy tank area behind this like aircraft carrier, and they're going through the woods, and maybe they're pushing into tank destroyers, and they're like, nah, don't think so. Let's just go through the middle of the map. And, I could go through every single map, and I'm not going to see people retreating from tank destroyers and going through the middle. But that is what happens here. So, all right, I think that's enough of a map briefing. So let's look at this game. God help me if I can get through this in one more take. So I want actually to go here. I want to go here into that, what's that white box area. I want to go here, and I want to sit in this corner behind these bushes, and I want to try to get lights. Typically, something I didn't cover yet. So light tanks, when they come out of this spawn, they usually will come up this road, do a little button hook, and retreat. Or they'll come up this hill, they'll come, it's kind of like zoom down here and retreat, see if they can light anything. Sometimes they'll be a little bit more aggressive, and they'll come this way, and they'll retreat. This is like the standard light tank play. I don't want to sit here because I don't have any armor, and if I get lit, I'm not fast enough to run around and kind of avoid getting shot. So I'm going to go here first and try to get lights on whoever's over here, or at least wait until they're not there anymore, and then I'll try to get back here because that's where I really want to go. Every once in a while in low tier games, you'll see someone come up here and they'll go all the way up into this bush, and it's hilarious because they don't get lit and they light everyone around them. It's very rare, but it is funny when it happens. So I'm going to start bush hopping, and but I'm not going to active spot. I'm not going to run around and zoom around. I don't really like to light things that no one else can shoot. It's just not I don't see the profit in it, to be honest with you. I saw something go down over here, so now I'm looking to see what it is. Naparesk is doing some active spotting. Now, that's important information for me. I see where one of the other light tanks is. And I decide I want to help my T-34-3, so I take a shot and I just retreat, because I know I'm going to get lit. I'm also looking at my deployment out in the field. See Artie's trying to take a shot at me, which is why when you get lit, you don't want to sit for any length of time. I really want that LHMTV dead, so I'm going to risk it and take shots at him. Now, this tank has such low power. Even those barrels almost stop it dead in its tracks, just trying to get through them. So now that I see that the light tank is on this side, I'm going to reposition over here to get back to where I really wanted to go in the first place. And I see we have a lot of forces on this side. You hear the engine. It's like two hamsters in a Volkswagen. So as I pull up, I see the 12T. Now, lucky for me, the 12T probably had been sitting here for a while and decided nothing was going on, and he started to back up, which, you know, gives me an opportunity to control this area. And this game is playing out relatively quickly. I'm expecting him to leave and I'll get a shot at him, but he just sits there and he waits, which is what I would do. It's a good skill to just be patient and wait. Either that or he went straight back and I just couldn't see him. And now is where you see the medium tanks are advancing through the channel, and I'm going to take this special position which gives me vision on the entire, you know, all of the retreating forces. It's just two at the moment. But I can roll back and get protection from the hill if I don't want to be exposed or get shot. So now, I'm doing this a little bit early. Let's stop this for a second. I'm doing this a little bit early. I should wait till these guys advance a little bit more before coming up through the middle because I don't want to get shot in the side from invisible tanks, but that is what happens. So the AMBT, I take a shot from him. So that other light tank goes down. And now I'm just going to take cover behind this house until I know that I'm not lit anymore. Take a hope shot. And you can see we have complete map coverage here. It's 10 to 3. And so now I'm going to get up into this bush in front of me and see if I can't get lights on this 12T which is running away. See the ISU. Really don't know what he was doing, but I guess he felt like he had no choice. And then all that's left is, you know, two more tanks and an artillery. I think I'm going to chase this 12T, but I don't remember what I did here. Oh yeah, it was between the Iron Arnie and the artillery. I decided to go after the Iron Arnie. I don't know if I got a shot on him or not, though. And so that's the game. But again, deceptive because, you know, a lot of decisions are made very quickly based on your knowledge of the map and where you want to go. So that's the game.